Yeah, there we go. So good afternoon, everyone. This is the meeting of the Senate Government Operations Committee on Thursday, January 15th, 2026. Let me begin by apologizing to anyone who may have been inconvenienced. It was all on me. Originally, the agenda did indicate that we'd start at 2, and I thought, knowing the floor session was going to be very, very light, that I could start at 1:30. So that's what we changed it to. Obviously, I erred by changing it back to 2, but I was trying to get the committee members were very happy to have the extra half hour. At any rate, if you were inconvenienced, I sincerely apologize, and it's all on me for that. So today we're going to take a look at S23 again, a bill that began in this committee last year, an act relating to the use of synthetic media in elections. I would say it was a long process, not particularly tortuous, but it took some time to get all the stakeholders in shape with what the final bill was. As I remember, and Representative Shea Waters Evans is with us from the other body, it got out of the Senate, went to the House, got to the House floor. I believe during the veto session, it simply ran out of yardage. We didn't have time to get it messaged back over to our body so we could take a look at it because there were some changes. So hopefully everybody, maybe with the additional half hour you all had, was able to take a look at some of the changes that the House has suggested. And my goal today is to move it out of here and get it to the floor. Well, at this point, it'll probably be on Tuesday because it'll have to get noticed. And if we can concur with the proposed changes,
we'd love that.
I think we would. Senator Morley wasn't with us last year, so this is a new bill to him. So with that as a beginning, I would ask the representative, who's the ranking member of the House Committee on Government Operations, just to maybe give us a flavor for what you've changed, why the committee felt that, it needed a little tweaking.
Yeah. Hello, Senator. We haven't met. I'm Shea Waters Evans. I'm from Charlotte.
Nice.
I'm the House Government Ops Committee. So, yes.
Kind of just while we're on introductions, you haven't met Rick Sagal either.
Oh,
And
that's right. Yes, we do. We have a brand new committee member. Those of you that follow judiciary may have, as Senator Vyhovsky does, saw the change. So Emery, Matthias, who was with us here, is now in judiciary, and we're happy to welcome Lynn Jakubaskas as our new committee assistant here. She was in judiciary, so they've in essence switched chairs, and welcome in.
well,
Thank you for the protocol, Senator Clarkson. I appreciate that.
So, I was the floor reporter for this bill. I was a strong advocate for it. I really did some hard work making sure that we got to a place in the House where we could keep it going. And I presented it in June, the day of the veto session. We had legislative council was kind enough to share some documents with me to remind me what we did because it was so very long ago. So it was that 6 months went by fast, but still seems long. So our intent was not to alter what your intent was with the bill. It wasn't to change it or make it less stringent. It was to clarify, to make it easier for the Attorney General's office to prosecute if they need to. For instances regarding this AI and the fake media for elections. So the first thing that we did was, did you get this?
Side by side.
Yeah, for
Yes.
council.
Every committee member has the side by side on their computer.
He's gonna go through it with you in depth.
that.
Yes, he's gonna go through it with you in depth, but I'm just gonna kind of follow along because that's where I took my notes. So the first thing that we did is we changed section 2031 in the definition of deceptive and fraudulent synthetic media, excuse me. So we narrowed the definition a little bit. We said, but we tightened it up a little bit. We got rid of some text here and just said that, what it is, it appears to a reasonable person to be a representation of a political candidate and that injures the reputation of the candidate or attempts to unduly influence the outcome of an election, and then left it at that because it was important for us to make the distinction between just any person making any video and really clarifying just for the sake of not limiting free speech, of not limiting, parody, satire, all those other things, to really clarify that it's for a candidate and it's not just, we know part of campaigning sometimes is making someone else look bad, and that is just part of life for a political candidate. So it's not about making someone look bad with this AI, with these deep fake videos, but more that it's that it's trying to unduly influence the outcome of the election. So it's like a lie that's really intended to alter the course of voting.
Senator Clarkson.
I just think it would be helpful for John
Yes.
to begin with the big picture of what this is trying to do.
Oh, come on.
I'm just.
I just do that. Okay, so this bill, I can do that. I can explain it. So the bill,
It's hard, I think, for.
of course. I'm so sorry. My apologies. So S23 is intended to create in the 30 days before an election, if someone is creating, producing, distributing online like deep fake videos or something that's meant to really spread like malicious false information about a candidate, that it would it's not saying they can't do it. We're not banning anything, but just saying in the 30 days before an election, there needs to be a disclosure put on it, whether it's a print ad or if it's a video or something, or not a print ad, a video, but also there's some things in there to make sure that, like, if your grandma shares it on her Facebook account, that she's not going to get arrested.
Yeah.
So just trying to limit it to that people need to disclose in these videos 30 days before an election that it is in fact generated. There's text in the bill that's really specific about what that disclosure is, to let people know that it was generated by AI.
Thank you. Great job.
That was helpful.
Yeah. There was occasion, if you remember, in the election of 24, as I recall, in New Hampshire, a video appeared. It appeared to be Joe Biden saying, please don't vote in the primary, and we're all set, kind of thing. And it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So that was the sort of some of the impetus.
Yeah.
Senator Bielski.
I apologize. I'm just trying to get back up to speed, but can you remind me, it was 30 days what came out of this committee?
I believe.
Oh, Rick says he can answer the question, so I can wait for him to get back.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
I thought that was.
I will, because I thought it was longer in this committee too, because I'm curious why we would take it that ballots are mailed out before longer. I think it's 45 days.
It's still 90.
So it would be concerning to me if that disclosure wasn't necessary while people had ballots in hand.
Yeah. Wait, did you say this?
It's still 90.
Oh, it is. We didn't change it to 30?
Okay.
I just read false information.
Okay. Never mind. I'm trying
Not
to
really
the whole 90
It
minutes.
wasn't synthetic.
No, it wasn't bullshit. It was forgetful, but not.
It was just human.
Yes,
No
that's right.
disclosure needed.
Okay,
Okay, 90 days.
yes,
Perfect.
90.
Much more comfortable with that.
Yeah, okay, I know.
I was like, why did you change it to 30?
I
you
don't
didn't.
know why. I didn't even know we didn't. So there you go.
You didn't.
Okay,
We're good.
so the next,
Sorry, I will say, because you're looking at it online, I'm looking at it now in our committee online, and it doesn't identify the changes. At least as far as I can.
They're the side by
If
side.
you went to the side by side
I said, where
it's
do I
color
find that?
coded.
in your email
Oh, in email.
Or it is under Rick.
from Lynn, I think Lynn sent it on behalf of Rick Sable.
Okay, great.
And then open that up and it'll show you the differences between.
Thank you, and we'll look for that.
Okay, so I understand that,
Yeah, just to make it clear, we don't want to stifle free speech. We just want to make sure that people are aware of what they're consuming.
Senator
We
White.
don't want to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So on that, and this may be, I want to ask intent of the committee, and then it might be a question as well for Rick. But in section 2031, you changed in section 2 to without the consent of the candidate.
Yes,
I was happy that we didn't have that previously, because I do believe that you, as a candidate, I can make an AI video of myself doing something completely positive that is in a manner that creates a realistic but false representation of myself. So I could consent to an AI. I still think if I'm
Yeah.
happily doing it and I'm saying, look, Becca lives in a beautiful mansion and here's a video of her hosting gorgeous parties and it's fake, that could still unduly influence an election. Or a video of me saving a child from a burning building.
yes,
That gets floated. Yeah, that I would be very consenting of positive information. I might even endorse that information, but I still don't think that that's appropriate. And it seems like you changed that in your bill, so that would be all right.
we did. And I believe it was for exactly that purpose, for if I wanted to make a campaign video of myself, saving all the whales, that I could do so with my own consent, or that if somebody did make one about me, that I thought was flattering or that was good, then I could.
Yeah,
be like, okay.
I disagree with that change.
Yes,
But I respect.
if I remember,
Lynn or Emery or Rick.
I
Did you send it? The side by side?
To the committees.
But I don't have it from any
If you-
plan.
if you go to-
Spell your name.
12:44 p.m.
Okay, sorry. I just.
Senator Clark, I'll just email to you right now.
Okay,
So you have it.
right. We'll see it soon.
Yeah, I think that would be one change.
yeah.
I don't.
I believe, if I remember correctly, I think that the context for it was that, is that where is that line when you're campaigning between like everything you do as a campaigner, everything you do if you are, an advocacy group or a PAC or something, and what you want to do is influence the outcome of an election, which is all of that stuff is for, right? That's why people do, and sometimes unfortunately people do lie, but that's not against the law. This is really specific for.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's distorts reality enough that I do.
Yeah.
I would be like, I especially dislike the use of AI by Donald Trump. And that style of content, I think, has distorted people's belief of what he has done and hasn't done. And whether or not you agree with those policies, I still think it provides so much confusion that it should be labeled. And that's the bottom line for this. So even though
Yeah.
someone might be consenting, so I appreciate that change and I respect what you're saying, but I think that would lead me to not feel good about concurring.
Okay.
At least.
We can definitely have Rick weigh in on
Agree with Senator Wade.
how it changes things.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so the next section, 2032, glasses would have been a good idea. Thank you. Wow, it matches my outfit. Thank you very much, Senator. Okay, that was much better. Okay, so what you had was a person shall not distribute synthetic media that the person knows or should have known is deceptive. And we removed or should have known.
I don't know that I can support that change.
Okay,
Rick has got.
this may not be as easy for us to.
Well, I'm trying to remember the reason why, and I think we talked about this earlier, didn't we?
Is it helpful if Rick joins you?
Yeah,
I don't, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be my-
then I have to, I will
You can
need to.
Plenty of room,
glasses
plenty of
on
Thank
and
you.
repair.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful.
But, Andy,
Rick Segal, Office of Legislative Counsel. Senator Moreland, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So I'll start with
Yeah.
should have known that the penalty section, as it came out of the Senate, was
That's what it was.
only knowingly. So the fact that you had a violation as knew or should have known, not matching the penalty, just knowing it, you had to correct that. So the committee decided to go with just knowing, and it's also a stronger First Amendment argument as well, that you knew what you were doing and you violated that. Should have known is the reasonable person standard, and it's just more a bit broader of a category of speech restriction.
Would it be possible to correct the discrepancy on the other end with the penalty as opposed to, because I do think some of this, because we had a lengthy discussion about should have known and the reasonable person standard, and yeah, I just feel better about that.
Of course, my comment, and I have a newer case to bring up in California, the same law. California is a very similar law to Vermont's, a bit broader. It was struck down by a district court, not appellate court. And they're very, very focusing on, you are restricting speech. You can do that, but you have to be very, very narrow in your restrictions. So if you open it up to should have known, you open it up to people who didn't intentionally produce the synthetic media that affected an election, but they should have known because it was an ad of X candidate doing something really insane that you should have known was AI.
So I have 2 points to that. One, we're not restricting speech. We're not saying you can't do it. We're saying you have to tell us you're doing it. 2, it's only applicable to the production of it. And I'm not entirely sure how one produces AI without knowing, or should have knowing that they produced AI.
Well, distribution, I believe is,
Produce or distribution.
yeah,
Okay.
produce or distribute, yeah. So it's both. You could.
But if you produced it and it's late, you should have known that it was AI.
Yes, but if you distribute it and.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you are distributing something that was produced and labeled, you should know that it's AI. Because if the person producing it is following the law, they've labeled it. Therefore, you should know that it is AI.
Yeah.
And that's on you.
So the first comment about restricting speech, when the government requires you to, like as candidates for election, you have to label your ads or paid for by the campaign group, X candidate. So when you do that, that is government restricting speech. The government is making you put that label on your campaign sign, on your campaign ads. So here it's similar, where the government is telling you have to put this disclosure on your AI, synthetic media. So that you may not think of it as restricting speech, but you are telling a person what you have to do to speak in this country, which is something you don't normally do when it comes to advertising, right? You rarely, if it's a pharmaceutical ad, you have to disclose certain things. But with elections, it's still protected by the First Amendment. So just wanted to clarify, it is restricting speech under the court's interpretation. So that's why you have to be careful at how you structure this. That's all.
If I remember correctly, we were concerned as we were going through this, not with weakening what you sent to us, but more, it seems like we were weakening it, but I think the thought is that we were strengthening it in the way that it was actually going to face maybe fewer challenges in the courts. And that was our goal,
That's correct.
is that we were trying to make it have an easier avenue for it to not be struck down or vote against, is if a case like that progressed in the court. So coming back to me.
Yep.
Okay, so now on the next page, further down in that section, we removed the part about the text not being smaller than the largest font size of the other text appearing in the visual media. Let's say I had a video that had Shay in giant letters at the top. And then if that was the only text in the ad, then it was like 46 font, then the disclaimer would also have to be in 46 font, and that would be
Impossible.
yes, unwieldy.
Unwieldy.
So I believe we changed it to it shall appear in a size that is easily readable by the average viewer.
So I'm not clear on what page you're on.
I am on the
Second.
second page
Of the side by side?
of the side by
Really
side,
tough.
right here at the top. This red part.
I guess that was.
So let me also clarify that it's Megan's clear, but this is the way I do it. The red language has been removed from Senate version. Yellow means it changed, and green means in the House side it's new language. So in this case, the Senate version had that same shall appear in a size that's easily readable. The House removed the and not smaller because of what Brett Waters Evans said.
Yeah.
Senator Yosky.
I appreciate the reason for removing that, and that does make sense. My concern with language around easily readable by the average viewer is that it is going to potentially exclude people with disabilities, and I would much rather see something in there around universal design, or I know that it's sort of universally accepted fonts and sizes for the disability community. I think it's Arial 14. So I would much rather be prescriptive to make sure that we are inclusive of people whose vision maybe is not so great. But I appreciate your point that maybe we don't want it in big bold letters of slides. I want to make sure that it's inclusive of not just sort of the people who generally are easily able to access things and a broader network of folks.
Sure.
So if you want to do that, Mr. Chair, you'd also want to do the audio recording,
Oh, yeah.
because it's also based on average listener.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that's if the committee wants to go with that, you'd want to correct that as well, Isa.
Thank you for sending it to me, but I cannot find where you are because I'm.
How about I share my screen?
And 2 is, there's no yellow or a green. The green is commentary of general interest on page 2.
Yep, you're on
So
the
you-
right page.
Yeah,
You're
you're there.
So where,
At the very
the
top,
red
at
on
the
the
very
upper
top.
left.
right.
That's
That's
what I
it.
read.
Deleted.
Red was deleted.
Yeah,
But they didn't add the easily readable. That was already there.
it was already there.
Got,
We just removed that.
Yeah.
and you added commentary of general interest.
Later, yeah. later
Yes.
on, yeah.
Yes, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. Good, right, fun.
I am in the right spot. Good, that's good.
So I did request a share screen. I think maybe if you allow me to share my screen, I can put it on the,
Can you let Rick Sagel in as a?
as a chair my host. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So we added, you see, as Senator Clark pointed out, we added commentary of general interest as one of the exceptions where this does not apply. And I believe we added this because
So it's already, it's in subdivision 2. If you look at the bottom of that page, you have that same.
oh, that's great. It was
and
just making
commentary.
it.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So
Yeah.
the exception carries forward, not just on a radio or television broadcasting station, but also a website or a newspaper. If you publish something that's commentary or general interest, you are also in the category of you're accepted from this bill.
Thank you. Saving me. All right, and then the next page, we have, okay, so it's, oh, okay, so we added distributes, in the top section.
Which actually increases the scope. This is the one area where it does, because
Yeah,
the issue was somebody that shares a AI video, they're not producing that video. But if they get it from somebody else or they share it, they would be considered distributing that.
Yeah.
And that's also actually open to interpretation. If you share a video, is that you distributing it? Something to think about. It's not defined, but
yeah, and we added it here because, or distributes, because these are the part of the exceptions, and it's about, satire and parodies. We wanted to make sure that that was, consistent
Okay.
with what we did before.
So it tightens the.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Senator Yosky.
Yes, we also do put that in parity. My question around distribution, and I actually support that addition. But my question is if we don't have that in there and there was an instance where someone produced it and then gave it to someone else to do the distribution, would that be a loophole around how we did it?
So someone creates content. Is it satire or parody, or is it?
No,
And someone else distributes it?
yes,
So
like
go back-
intentionally, like I am someone who's, I've made this. And now I've given it to you so you can distribute it without
Right.
that, does that?
No, because the main disclosure here is a person shall not publish, communicate, or otherwise distribute.
Okay,
So, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I misspoke. It is tightening the scope of satire or parody.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, to go back up here. A person who produces or distributes deceptive and fraudulent media, that is satire or parody. So it increases people who are sharing a satire video. They will not be seen as violating the bill.
Yes.
That protection makes sense to me, although I have to say the wild world we live in 2026, satire and parody are sometimes hard to distinguish from reality.
And luckily the courts have kind of defined
Right.
as best they can what that is. But it's obviously you can't always pinpoint it.
Okay, the next thing we did, we changed, in section 2041, penalties to remedies.
And that's just a technical change to make sure the word is used correct throughout the chapter.
Yep. And then we added the entire next section about civil investigations.
Oh,
So
okay.
this,
No,
this,
yeah,
this was a request of the Attorney General.
Yeah.
This exact language appears in the campaign finance
Mhm.
section of Title 17. So the Attorney General wanted the same language brought over to this bill, giving them the authority to conduct civil investigations into these violations. The penalties didn't change. It's still, you can look at the bill, it's still, make sure I have this right here.
it's like 5,000, 10,
Yeah.
15 maybe, depending on the frequency.
The first violation is 1,000. Not more than 1,000. These, if it's intentional, to cause violence or bodily harm, not more than 5,000. If you commit a violation, within 5 years after one or more violations, not more than 10,000.
Okay.
And if you commit it with the intent to cause violence, bodily harm within 5 years of one or more violations, not more than 15,000. Again, those numbers didn't change.
Yeah, and then the Attorney General's office can then investigate these, not just sue people.
Right.
But put some teeth behind it.
So. Yes,
Can I go back to the definition? I think it's the most important part
Sure,
of the,
yeah.
of the change, just to make sure we're all
Here,
on
here.
the same page.
Yeah.
And again, like the representative said, the main point here, was to strengthen the bill's chance of surviving a court challenge, because this is probably going to be challenged. I just have to be upfront about that. This type of bill exists in, I think, 26 states. A couple states ban it, Texas and Minnesota,
And which we understood from you from the beginning would have been the simplest way to deal with it.
and the most legally challenging to actually defend.
The policies in Texas and did you say Louisiana?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, have they been challenged?
Minnesota challenged, but they didn't have standing, so it was dismissed. So I can't say that those would be deemed unconstitutional, but I would be shocked if they survived court scrutiny.
so like,
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, but I don't want to interrupt you if you're going on
No.
the definition piece. I think at this point, just based on the changes, I'm not comfortable. I would be voting no on concurring, but ultimately we'll see how the committee votes it as a whole. My main question outside of the definition is with the change to distributes, did you hear from like the broadcasters and other folks? Are they distributors?
They are accepted, I believe.
Okay, so that remains that
Yeah.
there's still, even though you've added that word, the class of people, or not even really people, like the class of organization
Yes, so
that
there,
came and paraded through our committee to say, please, we don't want to have the liability on this one.
Just for
Those-
satire and parody. Just for the satire and parody. They're still accepted from the bill in other ways.
Okay.
The change was just in the satire and parody piece.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So it in this section here with all the exceptions, it says radio or television broadcasting station, including a cable or satellite television operator, program or
Okay.
producer, websites, or blah, 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 all those things. Those are nothing changed. We added something,
Okay, great.
but we didn't remove anything. It's-
Okay. So they're
Not all
still
there.
all, well, that
All
makes me feel good because I
Yeah.
do, we want to make sure that we're narrowly getting at the group of people who are causing the damage rather than those who just happen to be kind of the media landscape that we live in. Thank you. So I don't have a problem with that.
okay. So, thank you for bringing that up because there's obviously people in the room that may or may not want to weigh in. I have not heard from anybody that saw changes that said, uh-oh, this is not what we wanted. I didn't think this was going to be part of it. So what I'd like to do is give them an opportunity now. If there's anything from Dylan or Wendy or anybody that's here that has other concerns besides those that were reached by the committee to kind of speak up now. And if not, my choice would be to go back and see if we can. We have a couple of choices we could do. We could take a committee vote to concur. If it's a positive vote, that's the way it will be reported on the floor, or we can propose a further amendment. But that delays the process because then it's going to go back to the House for their consideration. So, but let me see if there's anybody in the gallery, so to speak, that wants to say anything.
For the record, Dylan Zwicky with Leonine on behalf of New England Connectivity and Telecommunications Association. Spent quite a bit of time in the committee last year with Welcome Senator on this bill that was supportive of the bill as it came out of this committee and the Senate, and remains supportive with changes in the House. Feel like they are important changes that clarify and make more clear, especially I think for the AG's office to be able to enforce this. So we would support
Okay,
the bill as it
appreciate
stands.
that. Wendy?
For the record, Wendy Mace, Executive Director of the Vermont Association of Broadcasters. We are supportive of the changes coming from them.
Okay. Anybody else representing a group that wants to say something?
Yeah, Quinn Houston, VPERG, I'm the Democracy Associate. I would say this is not one of our main priorities. A little disappointed by the changes to the definition. I think that just narrowing it down to political candidates leaves a lot of open room for fabricated false media to be presented as evidence of a false reality. I understand that protecting, political candidates in any way, if this is a non-negotiable, if this is important to pass this, then we support it. But I think refining the definition to be broader is also to be considered.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Betty Keller, Vermont League of Women Voters, of Vermont. And I share some of the concerns about the changes. I'm concerned that besides the candidate, there could be their surrogates, their family members, a setting, an issue that they have promoted or opposed that is distorted to make it look like they have a different position. I'm concerned about that change and the knowing or should have known. So often somebody can just say, well, I didn't know. and if they really should have known. I'm also in the video disclaimer. It looks like it previously was to show it throughout the video, and now it's like the beginning and the end. So anybody could grab a clip and just pop it onto Facebook without the disclaimer showing. And they may have done it that way too, so they didn't know when they shared it. So if it's shown all the way through, well, you can't take out a clip and not have it show. So I'm concerned about these changes.
Okay. Anybody else? Well, it would appear that we have more to do here.
Chair, can I just make one comment? Because I do want to make sure that we have correct information. I respect your point. My understanding of the bill is that they do have for video recordings, the disclosure shall appear for the full duration of the video recording. I don't know.
So
if
I don't have
your
the
timing.
on side. I'm looking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So hopefully that,
Because that's a
hopefully I'm mistaken, but I thought I had read that it was at the beginning and at the end, if it's more than 2 minutes and popping in the middle. Where did I see that?
I believe.
Okay.
I believe-
Okay, I still share the concern about the video recording then. Okay, so,
Okay.
but it does currently have it throughout the entire video.
It says for video recordings, the disclosure shall appear for the full duration of the video recording.
Okay, great. That's fine. My mistake. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, it's a great.
Okay.
Well, I wonder if, I mean, my thought would be that if you removed that, then you were just producing a deepfake AI video. Then if you removed that text from it, then you would be violating the law.
That could be interpreted that way, I think. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the concerns. We talked a lot about it. I think our perspective was it was important to reach a place that everyone was comfortable with in our committee, and that, would not only stand up to court scrutiny, but House of Representatives scrutiny. And we were really trying to reach a good compromise for making sure that we weren't making the scope of it so broad that it was going to be applied to any person about whom a deepfake video was made, because really this was about, the way you sent it over was about security and elections, and that's really what this is for, and kind of inspired by that Joe Biden recording, and making sure that people aren't using these things specifically to alter the course of an election. That's kind of outside regular campaign shenanigans.
Senator Bielski.
I'm a little confused how the language we sent over could do that, given that it quite clearly says with the intent to injure the reputation of a candidate, to influence the outcome of an election, or to otherwise deceive a voter. Like, it's quite specific to elections. It would not mean that someone would have to put a disclosure on an AI that they made about their brother rescuing puppies.
Yes.
Like,
Or
that has
beautiful
nothing to do with an
filter.
election.
So that, if I could answer that last part there, or to otherwise deceive the voter. But to me,
Okay.
that's pretty broad. Deceive in what way? Yes, we're all thinking about the elections tomorrow or don't vote tomorrow, right? That's clearly something you want to protect, which I think this current language does, because you're gonna unduly influence the outcome of an election if you lie about the day of the election. But if you're trying to deceive a voter, again, that's my brain is trying to figure out what the court's going to highlight, and they're going to say that's really broad. That could be
If we
it's going to be
struck
cloudy tomorrow.
that line, or to deceive a voter.
Uh,
The other
Indenture.
concern I have around just being inapplicable to a political candidate is it does not touch on issue campaigns. So now I can be the landlords association putting out an AI video talking about how just cause eviction is going to make everybody's rent go up
Right.
400%. That's not true.
Right.
And that, like, but this language would not cover that. That would be
Right.
fine.
And I think so. When I was going to talk about the definitions, there's two harms here we're trying to protect: the candidate's reputation, which is defamation, right, already protected in law, and the integrity of an election.
Yes.
Those are two things I think the court's going to say, yeah, these are important interests of the government to protect, right? When you start talking about issue-based stuff, which may be important to some people, not to other people, the government's going to say, well, now you're picking and choosing what speech is content-based and which speech we should restrict. And that's a bit more problematic than having two goals, which are these two things: defamation of a person, not of an issue, of a person, and which you can't defame an issue, right? Or the outcome of an election.
But if that issue is on the ballot, like,
Yeah.
if
Right.
that is like, I don't actually think that I'm just saying you can't make AI lies about random issues. I'm saying that's on the ballot. Like, people are going to go vote on it, and you're creating AI lies to say, don't vote this way.
I believe that what this is dealing with specifically is the deep fake videos that would alter or fake a voice or an image of somebody, correct? So not just make a mean video about an issue, but it would have, my face sitting here at the table, but change my words using my voice, the tone of my voice and my face to say that I was saying things that were damaging the election. That's why, later in that paragraph, we changed it to, if you look at number 2 in the definitions in section, subsection B, where it says synthetic media means a video or an image, an audio recording or video recording. You had individual in yours, and we changed it to political candidate because individual was so broad that it really would apply to anybody, and it seemed unenforceable to say any individual person. That's like a whole other bill. That's like a whole other thing. And we were trying to just keep the focus really on elections and using deepfake and AI to unduly influence the outcome of election. Because really, when you're making a campaign act, you're attempting to influence an election, but this is a different manner of doing so.
But,
So,
you know,
go ahead, Senator.
but people make campaign ads for these issue campaigns that are on the ballot. And it's not any individual, there's multiple points here. It's any individual that is doing these things. And it's not all the time, it's within 90 days of an election. And so I do actually think it should be broader than a candidate, because we are a state that runs issues on the ballot for people to vote on. And so I don't think that the executive director of some organization opposed to it should be able to say, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Hey, Quinn said these things. I made a video of Quinn saying that actually this is a terrible idea. Even though Quinn works for VPIRG that supports this, or is like, I don't actually think that should be allowed. And I do think that unduly influences an election and is bad for democracy.
Senator White.
Thank you, Chair Collimer. Yeah, I also don't agree with the change to political candidate because I could make an AI video of George Clooney saying, I'm voting Becca White. And that wouldn't be covered under here because he's not the political candidate. But hey, that could really win me some votes. So that I think is a problem, is you can create, like, one of the tools of a political ad is to show that you have endorsements or support from others. And those people may not be the political candidate or an active political candidate. They might be community members. Like I could also do a fake AI video of a bunch of real Vermonters, leaning on their truck saying, vote Becca, that would be a lie. That would be distorting reality. And it would also unduly influence an election. But because it's not an AI of me saying that or another political candidate in the race, my understanding of with your change is it wouldn't be enforceable.
Well,
I don't know if that's correct, then I'd like to understand.
yeah, I mean, we're operating from that point, like council said, of saying these two things. We're protecting the integrity of the election, and we are also trying to make sure that candidates are protected from something that would be really damaging. What your examples would be, so if you look at that first section, it says it means synthetic media that appears to a reasonable person to be a representation of a political candidate and that injures the reputation of the candidate. So you would not be injured, I don't believe, by George Clooney saying that he voted for you.
Yes, but I do think it would unduly influence the outcome of an election.
Right, but that's.
So I think it falls under, so I hear what you're saying. The changes, though, it's not considered synthetic media, though. It's not considered the definition of synthetic media unless it's a political candidate's appearance, speech, or conduct.
Right, which is what.
So that it's like misordered in a way almost with the definitions, because you need to know what synthetic media is to know what deceptive, fraudulent synthetic media is. And
Well, I also think Becca's point is exactly that it wouldn't be covered if George Clooney said, I voted for Becca, and it should be.
yeah.
Or if we want to make a more realistic example for the state of Vermont, if Bernie Sanders said, I voted for Becca, but it was synthetic media,
Would that
like that should, and he wasn't running that
well,
year.
that's my question. If it was a different political candidate not running in the election, how would this fall under your new definition? If Bernie wasn't running that year and they made an AI of him saying, he didn't vote for me or something that was negative.
You'd have to know he didn't live in your district.
Yeah.
It's,
But
it's any political candidate. So if he's not
Oh.
running, he's not a candidate.
okay, so yeah, then that would be, that's tough. Cause that means if you are on an off year with a congressional candidate, an AI deep fake of them supporting or not supporting you would not be enforceable under this. And I think that that's a really logical potential reality we're moving towards.
Well, I also agree with you that it shouldn't be able to be positive or negative.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to injure someone. It shouldn't be able to benefit them either.
So you just want to ban synthetic content that
I mean, yes, but I.
In
In a manner that creates a real.
you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. I think our thinking was that we were hoping to pass a bill that would solve the problem. The problem being, this sort of, but keep going back to Joe Biden's recording, which was an egregious thing to do, was really to prevent that in the moment of an election, the 90 days before, to make sure that people understood that it was synthetic media.
Right.
We didn't want to ban anything. We didn't want to make it so broad that it was not going to stand up to any kind of challenge in court. And because we were hoping that if we were to work so hard on this, and I know you guys are too, to pass this legislation, that it was going to be something that could actually be effective and make a difference. And to try to, get our toes as close to the line as possible. But make sure that it was something that would withstand the challenge.
Without banning it altogether.
Yeah.
Because the other choice that we began with was considering banning it altogether.
Absolutely. And as much as that's still what I would prefer to do.
Yes, I think that's where you and I began.
Yes, I do think to your question, I know I was flippant. I said, yes, the answer is yes, I would like to ban it. Recognizing that is really challenging. I think we need to label more of it.
So if I can attempt to rein in things in. It sounds like the definition in section 2031 is what we're talking mostly about.
Right.
Does any committee member have any other specific concerns with any of the other language later?
I think we raised a couple of them.
I didn't keep track of them, but right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think at this, I think at this moment, I would be comfortable supporting this bill if we return to at least in part the original definition in section 2031.
Yeah.
I could do that. I also have a question around distributes, but I don't feel that's not a make or break issue for me. I don't think I could vote at this point
Okay.
with the new definition.
Original to the introduced bill, original to our bill.
Original to what is on the side by side, which I believe is what we passed.
That's the Senate version, yeah.
The Senate, then it's
Yeah.
the red.
Yeah, I could take out or environment. I guess I could see how that could be like a little.
Did you keep track of any of your other concerns?
No, but I can go through this. I assume we're not gonna be making these changes today, and I can go through the side by side between now and the next time we take it up.
Might be
And get
alarmed.
them to-
I think Rick,
I can do that.
Rick can try.
Did you keep track of?
Of course.
Oh,
That's
okay.
his
Part
job.
of my job. The disabilities, people with
Yeah.
disabilities, hearing and seeing, and
And then should have known.
was there a clear direction on that should have known? Is that what you all?
Well, you had a very good explanation as to why we
Yeah.
removed. I don't disagree with
It
that.
doesn't- I mean,
I had
it's up to
bigger
you all.
challenges in the beginning rather than that. I'm fine.
I can
pretty
probably sit on living with should have known being removed. I don't like it, but
Okay.
I could probably consider living with it.
Again, we'll have to switch the penalties
Yes.
up to should have known if
Which
you want
I
to bring it
much
back.
rather do.
What's your schedule like tomorrow?
I think at 1 o'clock I'm busy, but maybe after 2 o'clock, 2:30 to be safe.
We have a security briefing at 2. Well, we may have to put it off until next week then. Cause
Well,
we need you with us in order to,
Could we do it at 3? Long as
I don't know how long the, yeah, okay, 3 o'clock.
What, the security briefing, I don't think is more than an hour. It's supposed to be an hour. Yeah.
Okay. What about 3, Rick?
Let's see here.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 should be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
And for your purposes, Shay, you'll have to go back, obviously, and let our committee know that, we didn't concur. I'm getting that impression at least.
Well, you could
And
say
then
no. I mean,
yeah, but I think.
Okay.
To do the right thing, I think we need to address concerns.
I can go back and look at a couple of things. I'm gonna go back and look at the testimony,
Okay,
that
Well, yes, we have YouTube.
Yeah,
We
that's
can go
right.
back and
And-
actually look at this.
Yeah,
and you're welcome to join us at 3 if you like.
I'd love to.
Okay,
I do.
so, yes,
I just have a question.
Sure.
Before don't know if you're ready to adjourn this one, but where do you want to just revert to what the Senate did, or do you want to have a conversation about what?
Well, there was some nice.
Yeah,
The
I
house
think,
made.
I think it's gonna be a conversation.
Okay, I will be prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel comfortable.
As I do, okay.
Yeah, I think
We
the
can also just send
only
the
part I
comments
care
to
about
the
is when we're turning
Oh.
to the
well,
original.
I don't know that we've gone back and forth.
We have.
Twice yet.
But I'm okay with taking out or
Okay.
environment.
Yeah, we could edit our own work.
Okay, so let's reconvene at 3 with whatever suggested
Tomorrow.
changes in the language our group comes up with your help and, Rick's help, and we'll see whether we can. But then it's still gotta go back to you guys.
Yeah, it'll come back. I'm gonna, I'll watch and see what some of our, I remembered some of the whys this morning. When we started talking, I was like, wait, why did we do that? And now it's
Okay,
Common.
that. So I'm gonna refresh a little bit now.
Okay.
But just,
and hopefully we won't do anything which will upset other members of the room. I don't think so. I think
I
we're
don't
just
think they
looking
have
for
this
real
current.
clarity here.
yeah, we were, as you are, I'm certain concerned about free speech and not limiting that. And it was
Sure.
something at the forefront of our minds the whole time we were working on it. So
Okay.
Well, thank you for your work on it.
thank you.
My concern is finding the balance between, yes, protecting free speech, but also not always being 500 steps behind on AI. Like, yes, that happened with Joe Biden, and we can retroactively like, hey, don't do that again. But the next thing, like, I'd like to actually try to get out in front of this a little bit.
I remember
Until we ban it. That's probably good.
I think we're gonna need some bigger constitutional changes to do that.
But inevitably, we're always gonna be behind time.
But we don't have to be that far behind. We can try to get a little closer.
Maybe we can be 100 feet behind.
I remember the Secretary of State's office saying last year, I'm sure you do too, that, you know, if we put it off until next session, that, you know, things were going to be advancing and happening in those 6 months or 7 months that were significant changes already, and that it was going to be not too late, but we would be farther behind. So, you know, there's an urgency to it, but also I think you're right. Like, you have to be careful and make sure we're forward thinking.
Well, if we're able to come up with changes that satisfy our group,
Sure.
we'll suggest that we offer
That's part of
revised
the amendment.
proposal of amendment. And
We had some healthy debate up in Hagoma, and I'm so excited to go back there and tell them that this is not gone. And instead,
please tell them how hard we try.
I'm bringing this back. They are gonna kick me right out of the room.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the
Thank you.
glasses.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break and move on to our next event.
And get your report stuff. I have to go back and get my.
Thank you, Rex.
Yeah.
You could take it.
Hang on, I was like,
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to leave this
Come on.
day.
No, let's hold her hostage.
I know. I'm just gonna join your.
Will she be able
Oh,
to?
thank you.